Hi, good morning.
ദിപ്പം ജോയിനായി. ഇപ്പൊ ജോയിൻ ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Hi, good morning.
ഹായ്, ഗുഡ് മോർണിംഗ്.
Okay, so we'll just wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll have an introduction session and then we'll start the classes. Okay.
Okay. നീ അല്ല സൗരവനെ വിളിച്ചു.
আরে মানে এটা দেখো ব্যবহার চলে এসছে।
12 പേര്, 14 പേര്.
Yeah, I have joined. Right now it's not starting. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so welcome to the session. So we will have the discussion. So this is our first and new class which we are starting for AWS Solution Architect Associate. I will introduce myself, then we'll have a quick introduction just to understand your name and your past experience in the technology and quickly about which company you're working. So okay, so myself Samir, and I've been training from past around 10 years and basically into solutioning and enterprise architect into Amazon Azure and Google Cloud. So my experience overall 18 years of IT experience with AWS certified solution architecture professional, Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. So all the clouds. And in coming to the portfolio, I've been worked from starting from Wipro, then Capgemini, and all those things. Different companies I have worked. So Capgemini I worked for 7 years, Wipro I worked for 3 years, then IBM I worked, then HP I worked. So a couple of companies I worked. Now doing consulting for Amazon as enterprise architect. That is about my experience. We can start with one by one. So let us start with first person, Kunal. Kunal, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Can you give a quick? Kunal, I think you are.
Just hold on.
It's echo.
By mistake, I have not able to connect from computer, so I have joined from.
Let me do one thing. Okay. There is an echo from your computer, I think so. So, Ankan, can you quickly introduce yourself?
My name is Kunal Kapoor.
Sure, Samir. I think Kunal is available now.
Yeah,
Should I wait or
yeah. Just hold on.
sure?
Yeah. I am Kunal Kapoor. I am presently working with the Cognizant Technologies last 6 years in insurance domain as a data analyst. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you.
Kunal, you're audible.
Yeah,
I guess
Okay,
Samir is not there on the call.
okay.
Hi, can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, can you introduce now very quickly?
Okay. Kunal this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Kunal Kapoor. I'm presently working with Cognizant Technology Solutions, Noida, Sector 135. I have a 6 years of experience in insurance domain.
Technology, which technology you're working?
Insurance domain.
Okay. Ajay, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Hi, Samir and all. I got 18 years of experience. I worked for various companies like HCL to begin with, and the last company I
Ajay, I
worked
can't
with.
hear you. Can you be a little louder?
Oh, better? Is it
Okay.
better now?
Hello.
And Ankan, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Samir, am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Yeah, hi. So I am Ankan and I've been working with HCL for about 3 years now. A collective experience of about 4 years so far. Little short of 4 years, and I'm working with HCL Technologies Nagpur as an SCCM analyst. And previously, I have worked with Amazon, Samir.
Okay,
So that's
very
about
good.
me. Yeah,
Very good, very good.
thanks.
So, and can we have quickly introduction to Ankit Kumar?
Yeah, hi Sayed. This is Ankit. Actually, I've been working in Wipro for last 2 years, and actually, I've been working on as a Wintel administrator, working on server administration, VMware, Active Directory. That's it on Azure as well.
Okay. And can we have the introduction with Indra?
Yes, hi. This is Indra. I've been working with Amazon with Alexa Data Services as a machine learning data associate from the past 3 years. My overall work experience is 4+ years.
Okay. Uh,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Can Nanjunda?
Hi, Samir. I'm audible.
Yeah, audible.
Yeah, good afternoon, Samir. This is Nanjunda from Bangalore. Overall, I'm having experience of 3 years, currently working with SAP as a system engineer.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So, in the technology,
Yeah, that's what system engineer. Primarily into Windows administrator, second
Windows.
into Linux.
Very good, very good, very good. And can we have Nidin Samson?
Yeah, hi Samir, I'm Nidin. Currently, I'm working with HCL Technologies and I'm into networking domain.
Okay, very good. And can we have Pramod?
Hi Samir and everyone. I've been working with BT since last 5 years. At the moment, I am in operations, taking care of team of network engineers who works for UK Telecom Networks.
Very good. And Pratik Shaler.
Yes. Hi, Samir. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So currently, I'm working from Goods Technology as a senior web developer. I have 3 years of experience in full stack development training. Currently, I'm working for React, Node.js, and MongoDB technology.
Very good. And can we have Rohit Jain?
Yeah, hi everyone. I have around like 14 years of experience, and I'm working with Zabbia IT Architect, and technology side I work on Java.
Okay, very good. Java, completely different. Okay. Saurabh, Bharti.
Hello, hi sir. Hi Samir. This is
Yeah.
Saurabh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, I am working as a system admin in a Genotech Laboratory Limited. It is a subsidiary set as a Sun Pharma. So I am looking for networking and all hardware and troubleshooting.
Very good. Sneha Parab, can we have the quick introduction?
Hi, my name is Sneha. I have a total 6 years of experience in MS SQL database administrator, working in TCS currently in a banking domain sector.
Very good. And Simanta, can we have quick introduction?
Yes. Hi, Samir. My name is Simanta Shantikari. I am working in Lipsys Limited, and my domain is Linux infrastructure.
Okay. Very good. And Vaibhav?
Hi, Samir. Good afternoon, Samir.
Yeah.
I'm currently working with HDFC Bank as a banking domain.
Okay. Technology?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And Vaibhav? Vaibhav, sir, you already informed. Okay. I think most of them are covered. In case if anybody is missing, they can introduce themselves. Okay.
Hi Samir,
Yeah.
very good afternoon to everyone. Siddharth this side. So,
Yeah.
I have a total 9 years of experience, having worked for Equip Technologies previously, and subsequently or presently I'm working for Bharti Airtel. So previously it was more of a networking domain system integrator, and presently it is a telecom industry, wherein we are dealing with networking equipments. That's it.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ankit Jaggi from this side.
Yeah, Ankit.
Yeah, I have a total 7-year experience and in telecom domain and as a RF engineer.
Very good. Thank you so much. Hope.
Ajay, was I audible earlier when I introduced?
No, your voice is still cracking.
Oh,
And
it's still cracking. Okay, maybe the headphone problem. Okay,
yeah.
no worries.
Thank you so much for all the introductions. So let us start the session. Before that, I will just give the high level introduction. Today is the introduction session. So we will have the understanding about the AWS solution architect. I think some people might have already attended cloud introduction session from Mr. Sanjeev. This, so I will be taking the complete AWS solution architect course till the end. So I have been training for more than around 30,000 plus people have trained for Amazon basically across the globe. Now coming to this solution architect associate course, what you're learning, first thing is that you need to understand the fundamentals of cloud, first step, then what are the benefits of the cloud, and then what are the different vendors of the cloud we have in the market, and what is AWS solution architect associate, and what exactly solution architect associate covers. Is it good for the developer, or is it good for the admin, or is it good for the programmer? And if I want to shine in AWS as an architect, what is that I need? What is the prerequisite is required? So all those things we'll cover it as a fundamental session for today. And tomorrow again there will be second level of fundamentals, same thing on the cloud only. So once we get some strong fundamental knowledge today and tomorrow, the next week onwards, the first AWS course session will start with a topic called as Elastic Compute Cloud. Before that, we will need to cover this fundamentals. So now coming to the fundamentals. So first thing is that what is cloud computing and what is your understanding about the cloud computing? Can anybody tell what is this cloud computing or any understanding you have on the cloud computing? Anyone? So it should be very interactive. So I'll keep on ask questions, not to test you, just to get everyone in the same page.
According to my understanding, cloud computing is the area where the companies using the server appropriate use of using their server as per their requirement for which amount of server payment given to them. Like if you is using for the 2-3 hours or one day, you has been charged monthly, weekly.
Okay. Next.
Hi Samir. Cloud is nothing but delivery of computing services like storage or database or any software over the internet. That's it. This is a cloud.
Okay. So let me explain you what is cloud computing. So any IT as a service which can be accessible via internet with pay as you grow model, we call it as cloud computing. Any IT service which can be accessible via internet with pay as you grow model, we call it as cloud computing. So when I say any IT as a service which can be accessible via internet with pay as you grow model, we call it as cloud computing, right? So when I say any IT as a service, it can be, let's assume, go for a cloud, and maybe what is that? Different people need different requirements. Like you might need a server, some people might need a database, some people might need a storage, some people might need a coding platform.
Samir,
some people
your
might need
voice
an
is breaking,
application.
so
Samir,
it's
you're
very difficult to
breaking in
understand.
between. Yeah.
Samir, your
Your
voice.
voice is cracking. We're not able to understand exactly.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, it's audible now. Yes.
Okay, is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so any IT as a service which can be accessible via internet with pay as you grow model, we call it as cloud computing. When I say any IT as a service, which means that if the user needs an application, if the user needs a software, if the user needs a server, if the user needs a network, if the user needs a database, if the user needs a coding platform, anything, basically any IT as a service which can be accessible based on the usage, we call it as cloud computing. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this cloud basically has many benefits, right? So can anybody tell me what is the advantages of going to cloud?
Samir, probably no data loss.
No.
Scalability.
Less
Okay.
maintenance, no maintenance of the resources.
Yeah, maintenance.
Okay.
Primarily for cost savings.
We can access these services wherever we want.
the first benefit we say called as elastic in nature. Basically, elasticity. Do you know what is elasticity? Elastic is nothing but expandable, stretchable, unlimited. So whenever you go with cloud computing, any stretchable, unlimited or expandable operating system means elastic means you can deploy as many as you need, right? It can be stretchable means suppose today you might need 100 machines, tomorrow you might need 200 machines, day after tomorrow you might need 500 machines. Elastic in nature. You can keep on add. You no need to worry that it will support, it won't support and all. You can deploy as many as you need. You can deploy as many databases you need. You can use as much as storage you need. Basically, cloud is elastic in nature, means unlimited, stretchable, expandable, and shrinkable. Shrinkable means suppose you don't want, you need today 500 machines, tomorrow you need only 100. If you want, you can reduce it, or if you want, you can increase it. That's the reason cloud is elastic in nature. And second one is agility. Do you know what is agile? Agility?
Flexibility to choose.
Agility is nothing but, yeah. Flexible. Any other thing? Okay. So agile is nothing but speed. Agile is nothing but speed, right? Which is nothing but, suppose, let's assume you want to deploy some 50 machines, right? Let's take an example. If you do it in your own environment, it might take so many hours to deploy. In cloud, very fast. Within minutes, your machine can be deployed. Within minutes, your application can be installed. Within seconds, your network can be set up. Within seconds, database can be configured. Means the time taken to do the deployment, the time taken to, configure the environment will be faster. That's the reason we say agility. Agility is nothing but speed. Agile is nothing but speed. Speed means the time taken to deploy, the time taken to install will be faster when it comes to the cloud. Clear? Third one. Pay as you grow. What do you mean by pay as you grow? You're paying based on the usage. Means you're not paying anything upfront, you are paying only based on the usage. For example, today you might need 100 GB hard disk.
Samir, sorry for disturbing. It's your audio is sometimes goes silent and not audible.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but sometimes it goes silent.
Okay. So just let me know whenever you are getting the in between echo. Okay. So pay as okay. Pay as you grow model. So basically, pay as you grow model is nothing but paying only based on the usage. Means suppose today if you are using 100 GB hard disk, tomorrow you might use 200 GB. Day after tomorrow you might use 500 GB. So you're only paying based on the usage. You are not paying anything upfront. So that is the advantage. So your cost is also getting reduced, and you're only paying on the actuals. That is one of the benefit of going with your cloud. Okay. And the fourth very important is that nothing but highly available and scalable, right? You can scale, and the high availability is also there. So Amazon provides you high availability. Means not only Amazon, any cloud provider basically provides you high availability, scalability as the features of your cloud. So elasticity is one feature, agility is another feature, pay as you grow model is another feature, high availability and scalability is another feature. All these are the features of your cloud. So whenever you go with the cloud, cloud will provide you elasticity, agility, pay as you grow model, high availability, scalability. All this they provide as a features. But to do anything, right? So the one more very big advantage is that in cloud, go global in minutes. Do you know what do you mean by go global in minutes? Anyone? Within minutes you are online. Let's assume you started one company and like how you have Flipkart or how you have Amazon.in, or you can take any kind of an online web application like Instagram or anything. If you want to implement, what do you need it? If you want to implement any kind of any social networking site or anything, what is it you need? Just take an example and tell me.
We just require hardware, servers.
Yeah. Next.
Infrastructure.
Yeah. Next.
Networking, electricity, and office.
Yeah, we require storage and databases.
A website or a domain name.
Yes. So basically, if you need to start up a company like Flipkart or anything, first thing is that you need to have a platform, right? You need to have a data center, you need to have a network, you need to have a storage, you need to have an operating system, you need to have a public IP, you need to have a DNS, you need to maintain the domain. Everything is required if you want to have in your cloud, right? But when it comes to the in your normal data center, but when it comes to the cloud, go global in minutes means everything is ready-madely available. You need a DNS, log into the DNS server, immediately you will get the DNS. You need a physical, you need a virtual server, immediately log in, you will get it. You need a database, log in and deploy. You need a public IP, log in and deploy. Means within minutes you are getting whatever you need. That's the reason go global in minutes means within minutes you can go online. Hardly it will take 1 hour to set up a database, a small network, a storage, a server. Everything will be available to you, and you can go online in minutes. That is the advantage of going with the cloud. To do everything, what is required? What is that you need to go and deploy in cloud? Can anybody tell? What is that you need to start immediately the services on the cloud? Anyone?
An account or
So I'll tell you, you all people will now smile. Credit card, or you need a debit card to activate your account and launch your services, right? So you can access, once you have an account, you can log in. What you need a server, you need a network, you need a database, you need a storage. Whatever you need, everything can be accessible via internet with pay-as-you-go model. Only based on your usage, you're paying, and for all these things you need to have credit card or debit card to activate, and you can access your cloud. So these are the advantages of cloud. Can anybody tell me what are disadvantages?
Data theft.
Pardon?
I'm saying data theft.
Actually, there is no redundancy in the cloud.
Redundancy is there.
And
no
bandwidth
ownership, no ownership.
bandwidth issues is also there.
Bandwidth, okay.
We are no longer in control of our data since we will be handing it over to some other company.
Control of our data, okay. Next. Will you agree that no longer control of our data?
No.
I'll note down and then I'll explain you.
Since we are handing it over to a different company altogether.
Yeah.
Maybe increased cost also as you grow.
Okay. Okay, next.
We can say vulnerability attack, and because everything is online, so can be attacked.
Okay, next.
Retrieving the data is so much of costly.
Okay, so different people has told different options. So let me explain you now what are the disadvantages of cloud. I hope everyone I'm audible, right? It's not breaking, correct?
Fine, no issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
No issue.
So disadvantages of cloud. So basically the disadvantage of cloud, first thing is that the first major disadvantage, what is that major disadvantage you find in cloud? It is control on no hardware. There is no control on your hardware. Basically nothing but your control on your infrastructure or control on your physical resources. Means the data what you're storing, you do not have any control on that physical environment, but you have virtual environment. So basically what you don't, what is the major advantage is that outage. Do you know what do you mean by outage?
Disaster recovery.
Yeah, when
Pardon?
something is not available.
Some system is down or
Yeah. So outage is nothing but if any machine is down or any problem, right? So in the AWS cloud, if anything is down, this complete environment is down, right? So outage is one of the, you will, if there is a major downtime in the cloud environment, everyone will have the downtime. So that is one of the things which you can't control and you're completely dependent on the cloud provider to make it up. That is one thing. And what is the second thing? As somebody told about the data, right? So I'll ask you, data is nothing but security, right? Why do you think that security is a problem in the cloud? So basically here, the thing is that, let's assume I have cloud data center. Let us take, this is my AWS and I have one more data center. Take this as on premises. Now, if I am storing a data here and if I'm storing a data here, why this we call it as secured and why we say that the data is not secure? What is the reason? Because
the ownership.
Yeah.
Because every component is online, which exposes potential vulnerabilities.
Yeah. So basically, you are putting your data. You are putting your.
Yeah. So it can suffer severe attacks and security breaches. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's nothing but, so your data, it is like this. If you are going for a vacation and you have went for a vacation and you have kids, do you prefer to put your kids in your neighbor's house or your parents' house? If you are going for outing?
Parents' house.
Parents' house.
Why?
Security.
Because we know them well and we
right?
know.
The same way here, when you are hosting the data, if it is in your own premises, you will feel secure because your own data center, your own network, your own storage, your own office, you will feel secure. But if you put the same thing in your cloud, you will feel insecure because it belongs to someone. So basically, you're putting the data in somebody's data center. Basically, it is not about the security. It is about a concept called as trust, right? You will find trust issues when it comes.
Samir, I want to exemplify with this, with a banking example, right? If we want to keep our money at our home or want to keep our money in bank, in both the situation, our money is at risk, anybody can commit theft. But the thing is, when we keep our money at bank is obligated to keep it safe, or if anything happens to my money, they will be obligated to give me back. In the same manner, if my data is at AWS or any other cloud computing services, I think they give 100% assurance and trust because they keep it secure and they are spending a lot of money only for security of our data.
Correct. So basically the trust is the basically an issue. For that purpose only, what Amazon says that security of the cloud will be provided by AWS, and security in the cloud is managed by customer. Security of the cloud is provided by AWS. Security in the cloud is managed by customer. Okay, what does it mean? So anything, the outside boundary security will be taken care by AWS. Okay, and the inside, the security you need to take care. So security of the cloud will be provided by Amazon. Security in the cloud will need to be maintained by customer. That is the advantage of going with your cloud. So basically security is also provided by Amazon, and internal security you need to put. So that is one of the key factor what you get when you go with the cloud, right? So one more thing. The third thing is that major the disadvantage what you find in the cloud is getting multi-skilled resources. Why multi-skilled resources? Can anybody tell? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Samir.
Yeah. Why multi-skilled resources? Because in the cloud, you need to have multi-skills. Why? Because you need to have the networking knowledge, you should know some storage knowledge, you should know some database knowledge, you should have some basics on the programming. Getting the multi-skilled resource is one of the challenge in the cloud. That is the reason most of the companies are trying, because nowadays if you see, every companies are migrating to the cloud. The reason is that one is that they don't want to maintain their own data centers to reduce the cost, to make sure that they don't invest more money in the IT, that they're moving to the cloud. So if they want to move to the cloud, everything as a service, if they want to do, they need to have a resources who are multi-skilled resources, right? So that is one of the core reason why we are going with the cloud. Like this, there are so many advantages are there, so many disadvantages are there in the cloud, and many most of the people will say the major thing in the cloud is that internet, right? If your internet is down, can you access any cloud application? Can you access any cloud application if your internet is down?
No.
So you are purely dependent on internet. Suppose if you are hosting that in your own data center, if you do not have internet also, at least you can connect via LAN, correct? Right. But when it comes to the cloud, you need mandatory internet. So this is also one of the key area which you need in the cloud. So all these are the advantages and disadvantages of cloud. So this cloud basically have three types of model. One is called as public cloud, second one is called as private cloud, and third one is called as hybrid cloud. How many clouds? Public, private, and hybrid. Can you explain me what is public, what is private, what is hybrid? Anybody know?
Public will be having the access only through the internet. And for private, mostly they will be accessing through their private connectivity. That means the VPN or MPLS, something like that.
The on-premises maybe, or
okay.
And hybrid, it is a mix of both public and private.
Okay, let me explain you what is public cloud and what is private cloud and what is hybrid cloud. Okay, so public, if I take a physical cloud environment, basically what happens is that if I have in the public cloud, what happens is that the resources, let's assume this is one VM, another VM, XYZ machines you're deploying in the cloud. So everyone, when it comes to the public cloud, they will be sharing the common hardware means basically when it comes to the public cloud, the hardware is commonly shared, the physical resources are commonly shared between multiple tenants. So when it comes to public cloud, the hardware is commonly shared between multiple resources when it comes to the public cloud. So if I give you a different, in a layman example, what is the difference between apartment and a villa? What is apartment? In apartment, what happens?
So in the
The
apartment,
Land is shared.
commonly shared by multiple tenants. Exactly. The land is commonly shared by multiple tenants. Same way in public cloud, basically the hardware is commonly shared by multiple tenants. Now, but in villa, what is the advantage of villa?
It will be the individually used by a particular land.
Yes, which is nothing but dedicated. Dedicated means your land, your house. So you are not being shared with any of the provider. So that is the advantage of going with villa. So the same way here, public cloud is nothing but commonly shared. Private cloud is nothing but dedicatedly provided. So when you go to the public cloud, the hardware is commonly shared. When you go with private cloud, it is dedicated. Now, which is costly and which is cheaper? You will only tell now.
Private cloud will be costlier.
Why?
I think hybrid will be costlier, right?
So we'll come to hybrid. Why private cloud is costlier?
Because dedicated to particular
Exactly, because you are dedicating the resources. The hardware is commonly not shared. It is only dedicated to that environment. That's the reason your private cloud is expensive compared to your public cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what is this hybrid cloud? Hybrid cloud is nothing but a combination of public, private, and on-premises. We call it as hybrid cloud. What is hybrid cloud? Combination of public, private, and on-premises. We call it as hybrid cloud.
Samir, in this hybrid cloud, that means if a thing is required, like using the space of server using or something, can be used like private.
Can you repeat that? What is that? Can you?
सब जैसे पब्लिक में हम एक हार्डवेयर यूज कर रहे हैं शेयर्ड वाला, ठीक है, प्राइवेट में यूज कर रहे हैं इंडिविजुअल के लिए जैसे डेडिकेटेड है। हाइब्रिड में हम क्या यूज कर सकते हैं हार्डवेयर जो हम चीज प्राइवेट लाइक
नो हाइब्रिड बेसिकली क्या होता है? हाइब्रिड इज नथिंग बट ए कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ ऑन प्रीमाइसेस, combination of public, combination of private, which is nothing but you are sharing the resources. Like for example, your customer says that it is a banking data and he do not want to put it in the cloud environment. He want to put it in the on-premises environment. Just take an example. Okay? But he needs some of the services from the cloud. Okay, like he needs some application which he need to access from the cloud. So, which means that from your on-premises, there should be a connectivity, there should be an accessibility, there should be a application integration where they can put some servers here also, some servers there also, like combination, right? That's where we call it as hybrid cloud. Let's assume for your on-premises, you need some 50 terabytes of storage required. Okay. Now you don't want to go with the cloud, physical storage. You want to go with the cloud storage. So Amazon provides you the cloud storage. So the combination of on-premises, combination of public, and combination of private, we call it as hybrid cloud. Combination of public, private, and on-premises, we call it as hybrid cloud. Clear?
Yeah.
Any questions?
हेलो, हाय समीर। हाय, एक्चुअली हाइब्रिड का मुझे थोड़ा कंफ्यूज हो रहा है। जो ऑन प्रीमाइसेस का बताया ना आपने, कैन यू एक्सप्लेन इट अगेन?
So hybrid cloud is nothing but a combination of your on-premises, combination of public and private all together. We call it as a hybrid cloud, which means that now let's assume you need, let us take in your on-premises, you need some 1 TB of storage. Just take an example, right? Now that storage, either you can buy a storage box and you can connect to your machine, or else you can take it from the cloud, right?
Right.
Whenever you do the integration from the cloud, which means if your on-premises needs the storage, which you're taking over the internet, right, from the cloud, then that kind of a solution is called as hybrid. Hybrid is nothing but mixed.
Okay.
Right? Some you are taking from the cloud, some you are taking from the on-premises, like combination, we call it as cloud. Let's take in a different example. Let's assume you don't want to put your critical data in cloud, you want to put it in on-premises. But you want all non-critical data, you want to put it in the cloud. So rather than buying a new storage in on-premises, you can take it from the cloud as a service. So like this, you have different options, combination of public, private, and on-premises. We call it as
hybrid.
Hybrid cloud.
Okay.
Understood? Any questions?
Can we use public as a hybrid cloud? Can we tell? Means we are using Azure and AWS.
I will tell you now which is hybrid cloud, which is public cloud and all. So now he's saying Azure, is it a public cloud, or AWS, is it a public cloud, or Google, is it a public cloud? So I'll tell you. Amazon offers public model also. Cloud is basically model, okay? Amazon offers public model also. Amazon offer private model also. Amazon offer hybrid model also. Azure offers hybrid model also. Azure offers public model also. Azure offers private model also. So basically it's a model. Both, all the three vendors will provide you public, private and all, but basically they are models. Like for example, in Amazon, if you need a private, the moment you dedicate one host, which will come under private model. If you are going and launching in the public, then it is, if you are launching in the shared model, then you call it as public. So public or private or hybrid, it's basically the models how you define. All three offers the thing, like same thing. Now if you ask me, okay, what is the difference between Amazon and Azure or Google? So what is the difference between Pepsi and Coca-Cola? Both are cool drinks, but the difference is that
brand difference.
Brand difference, maybe taste difference, might be the way they, do that will be different. So this can be different options, right? So public cloud you take, or private cloud you take, or you take hybrid cloud. So any of these cloud models, these are the models. Amazon also provides public cloud. Microsoft also will provide, public cloud, and Google also provides public cloud. Amazon also provide hybrid cloud. Microsoft also will provide hybrid cloud, and it also provides private cloud. So basically, these are the models which you need to use when you log in and when you deploy those services.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next question, what you get doubt is that, sir, which one is good? Amazon, Azure, or Google? Right? This is a regular question you people will get. What would be the answer?
Google is GCP.
The cloud which provides more services, the number of more services.
Amazon
like
will provide.
Amazon, AWS is providing more services in the cloud market rather than Azure.
On what basis you consider which cloud is good? Means what will you say? Because the services are more, that is good.
At one platform you get more
and most of the applications are running on AWS rather than Azure.
No.
Lesser the money, better it is. That is one aspect.
Okay, so to answer this question, there are two ways to answer it. Okay, one, if somebody asks you which cloud is good, you as a technical person should say, for us anything is same. Whether you take Amazon, Azure, Google, it's bread and butter for us. So whether you give Amazon also will work, Azure also will work, Google also will work. That would be the answer if you want to answer as a technical guy. But if they want to ask you in the market which is good, right? So that is where you need to do the analysis by which cloud is good. So first thing, which cloud has first launched in the market?
AWS.
In the year 2006. Right? And in 2014, 10 it was started Microsoft, but established properly from 2014. So the leader already in 2006 means almost 8 years before Amazon has launched between other clouds who has come up. So that's the reason as a priority, we can consider that Amazon is leading in the cloud space, right? First thing, because they started first. Second thing, the number of availability zones or basically number of regions, number of data centers, Amazon has more. That is second thing. Third one, market share. Market share means Amazon has captured 33% of market share across the other clouds. Why? Because they came up first. That's the reason the market share is already stable, because there's so many environments are migrated to Amazon. The market share is more. The number of services are more, right? And coming to the cost you cannot say Amazon is higher.
Sami, lost your voice.
But Azure has had higher.
Or Amazon is cheaper. Cost is basically. Hello.
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, Azure has had a higher revenue growth rates rather than AWS.
Revenue growth is different. Market share is different. Okay.
Yeah.
Revenue growth is basically total. What they're earning in that particular Azure space, right? Okay. Market share is nothing but the number of customers who have already been occupied by Amazon. So in that space, as a market share, Amazon is in good. And when it comes to the services, there are so many services which are been leading. And next very big thing is that who is the richest person in the world? Who has the highest amount in the share?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos, who has captured the market and who is putting the lot of shares in the cloud portfolio. So in this way, you can say, but when somebody asks you about the cost or expenses, you cannot say exactly Amazon is good, because it all depends on use case to use case. So that's the reason we say that in certain services, Azure is good, certain services, Google is good, in certain services, Amazon is good. But basically, on a high level, an infrastructure side, Amazon is very stronger, and platform side, Azure is very stronger, and application side, basically, Google is leading. That is the market-based analysis which they tell about the leading environment in the cloud portfolio. Okay. However, as a technical guy, for us, it can be whether you take Amazon or Azure or Google, it should be same.
Can you tell me what is the platform application? You have told about the Amazon as a infrastructure and Azure is a platform and Google is app or application.
So there are in the cloud, there are three types of services which we consider. One is called as IaaS. Second one is called as PaaS. Third one is called as SaaS. IaaS means.
Samir, these are the service models, right?
Yeah, infrastructure as a service. Okay, and PaaS means platform as a service. SaaS means software as a service, right? Infrastructure as service, platform as service, software as service. So how it is divided is that application, data, application, data, then can you see this? Application, data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, storage, network, and physical hardware, right? So basically, when it comes to infrastructure, the combination of your all this layer, basically nothing but hardware, networking, virtualization, storage, we call it as infrastructure as a service. Like people who work as a server admins, people who work as a network admins, people who work as storage admins, people who work on VMware technology, Citrix technology, Hyper-V technology, all these people will consider as a IaaS, infrastructure as a service, right? For people who work from runtime till this layer, we call it as a PaaS, means developers.
Samir, AWS Cloud or Azure, everything comes under IaaS, right?
No. AWS offers IaaS, Azure also offers IaaS, Google also offers IaaS as some services. Some services they offer in IaaS, some services they offer in PaaS, some services they offer in SaaS.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, what is platform? So let's assume a developer is there, a Java developer. If he want to execute a code, what is that he requires?
Any particular platform?
Yeah. SAS.
Java, maybe runtime or the.
If a developer wants to execute a code, he need to have a runtime background. It should be installed in an operating system or an application, right? So PaaS is nothing but a service which offers the runtime environment. So basically all the developers, all the programmers, all the coders will come under PaaS. All the WebLogic, WebSphere people will come under the PaaS. All the OS admins, Windows OS, Linux OS admins will come under the PaaS, right? Now, what is this SaaS? People who work on the application layer, data, runtime completely. See, now we are connected through which software? We all connected?
Zoom.
So it's a SaaS as a service. You just clicked on the Zoom, we all are connected, right? Skype for business, SaaS as a service. SharePoint, SaaS as a service.
So any Google applications or Dropbox, all of them also SaaS only.
Anything directly which you access the application which comes under SaaS as a service. So Amazon also provides infrastructure, Amazon also provides platform, Amazon also provides software. Azure also provides infrastructure, platform, software, but different services are there in those services. Okay, let's assume you need a virtual machine in Amazon, so we call EC2, which is again comes under infrastructure. You need a storage which comes under infrastructure. In Amazon we provide S3. In Azure we call it as blob storage, which comes under storage, which comes under infrastructure as service. Now you need to deploy one application, third-party application directly on the platform, coding platform. Amazon has Elastic, GreenStack. PaaS also, Azure also has the platform where you can deploy the all kinds of development BitStalk services or any kind of a development services. Also, it has SaaS. Amazon also has a SaaS like WorksApp, WorksDoc. This all comes under SaaS services in Amazon. So basically, Amazon also offers you infrastructure, platform, SaaS. Azure also offers infrastructure, PaaS and SaaS. Software, Google also offers the infrastructure, platform and SaaS. But the service names are different. So you need to understand which service is infrastructure, which service is platform, which service is software. You can use any of the services. You can only pay based on your usage.
Samir, can you explain the infrastructure IaaS again?
Infrastructure is nothing but the underlying layer of your platform. Basically, let's assume your laptop is there, right? You have laptop?
Yeah.
In your laptop, what is infrastructure called as? In the laptop, inside the laptop, you have a hardware,
you
have a CPU, you have a memory, you have a network, you have a hard disk, right? That comes under infrastructure.
Okay.
Okay, let's assume you want to install a code. Can you install a code without having a hardware?
No.
So infrastructure is required to execute a code. So platform is nothing but again dependent in the backend with infrastructure. Software is again dependent in the background with the platform and infrastructure. So basically these are nothing but underlying layers what we need in the solution. Clear?
Yeah.
Any questions anybody has?
Samir, can you please explain me PaaS once again?
PaaS is nothing but platform as a service. So let me ask you a question. So if you want to install, a database, you need a database called Oracle database. What is that you need?
Infrastructure.
If you have just a hardware, CPU, memory, network, operating system, is that enough or anything is required?
No, it's just enough. Only software, Oracle software is required.
Right. So where are you installing this Oracle software?
Yeah.
So you are installing it top of operating system, which is nothing but again a platform. So platform is nothing but which requires the underlying infrastructure. Software is nothing but which requires underlying platform and infrastructure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Samir.
Any questions?
We can go ahead.
Yeah. So you understood, right? So these are the fundamentals of cloud. So what we learned, what is cloud computing we learned, what is the abbreviation of cloud computing, any ITS service which can be accessible via internet. We discussed about the advantages and disadvantages of the cloud, and then we discussed about what kinds of services are there: infrastructure service, platform service, and software service. And also we have discussed about in detail how public cloud works, private cloud works, and hybrid cloud works. We understood, and we understood what is the reason of this particular AWS or Azure or Google, which is the best, which technology has what variants, we have understood. But what is that AWS solution architect associate you are going to learn? What is that you're going to learn in architect associate? Any idea?
No.
No.
Okay. What is the job? So let's assume if I ask you a question, you want to construct a house. What is that you need to construct a house?
Architect.
First of all, land.
Okay.
Then the architect.
The architect.
Then the material.
The blueprint.
Blueprint. Design.
Then
material and labor.
Okay, so you said you need a land, you need an architecture, you need a design, you need a material, you need a labor. That's it.
Money.
Right. So you need, first thing is that you need to have the cost, right? How much it will get required to implement the solution. So you need to know about the costing. You need to have a knowledge about the how exactly you need to design that. You need to have a design. Then you need to know the architecture, what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. Fourth is nothing but resources you need. Then you should have people to do that, and then you should know how much is the budget which you need to allocate, and you should have the complete planning for implementing the house. The same way here, solution architect associate is nothing but a person who can design, who can plan, who can analyze the costs, who can define the architecture, and who can do the implementation. So end to end means, so let us assume that you want to deploy SAP HANA in the cloud. SAP HANA is a simple, straightforward stuff, SAP HANA in the cloud. But to deploy the SAP HANA in the cloud, in the background, you need to understand the architecture, you need to understand the design, you need to make a plan, you need to understand the costing. So solution architect associate is nothing but it is basically who can do the installation, who can do the configuration, who can do the planning, who can do the designing, who can understand the costing. Everything as a architect you need to do it. That's the job of your solution architect associate. Okay, now there is one more course called as developer associate. Now what is the difference between solution architect and developer associate? So basically development is all about developing the product, right? So here you are implementing it, a solution you're building. Top of that, you want to do any kind of an development activities like some coding, some programming, some kind of an activities. Like that, Amazon has a course called as Developer Associate. Like this, you can go with development also, or you can go with the solutions also. Okay. So in solution architect, you will be working on implementation, solutioning, planning, everything you will work on it. Clear? Any questions?
Yes, Samir, I have a question.
Yeah.
हम लोगों ने वो क्लाउड टाइप्स जो डिस्कस किया लाइक पब्लिक प्राइवेट हाइब्रिड उसके रिगार्डिंग है पब्लिक में हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था दैट हार्डवेयर कैन शेयर कॉमनली राइट तो मुझे ये डाउट था कि जो हार्डवेयर शेयर करने वाले कॉमनली उसके कुछ स्पेसिफिक हार्डवेयर रहती है या फिर एज पर रिक्वायरमेंट हम वो अपग्रेड कर सकते हैं
that you get tomorrow when I explain you about the next level of the fundamentals. What is AWS? What is data center in the AWS? What is availability zones? What hardware AWS uses? What operating system AWS maintains? What virtualization technology AWS provides? Then you will understand about that point.
Okay.
Okay. Tomorrow I'll explain about that second level of fundamentals. Then you'll get a clarity.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so again tomorrow we'll connect the same time. So if there is a delay of 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes, do not worry because basically the other class should get extended. Sometimes they'll be asking the doubts. So we'll try to complete, but in case 3 to 5 minutes here and there, you please join. I will be joining immediately. So they'll be creating a group, and in that I'll communicate if there is a delay. But 90% the delay won't be there. And sometimes if it is extended, there will be a delay of 4 to 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
So can you start tomorrow from 11:30? So it can be easy for me. Actually, I have chosen that time.
Yeah, you will be starting 11:30 only. So because this is the first new introduction session, they are in the background. There's a process of they're adding the more number of people. Most probably from next weekend, the next Sunday onwards, it will be sharp starting at 11:30. This first weekend until next Saturday, it will be 12 o'clock, and after that, it will be at 11:30 sharp.
That means the tomorrow class will be 12 or 11:30.
Tomorrow class will be 12, and next week class also will be Saturday will be 12. Sunday onwards, it will be 11:30. The class duration will be 2 hours. Initial for first 4 to 5 classes, it will be 1 to 1.5 hours. After that, it will be 2 hours. Once you feel that comfort, once you understand the topic, once you're involved in the topic, that is when we will start taking the more number of hours.
Okay.
Will you be sharing the links for subsequent classes?
Yes. Actually, in the LMS, once you log in, you will get the link. And top of that, once they create the group, I will also share you the Zoom link.
Zoom link, okay.
Okay.
Any document will be shared for students?
Everything will be shared. Not to worry. This is just an introduction class. Just wait for 2 more classes. All the documents, presentations, everything you will see in your LMS.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get the video? Today video.
Yeah, once you log in, after 2 hours, 3 hours, this recording will be uploaded, so you can see the recording whatever we have discussed.
Okay.
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 Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.